Good morning, online kids. Today we're going to learn about the country of Canada. So Canada's flag has a red maple leaf on the center of a white background with two red stripes. The maple leaf has been symbolic of Canada for many years, and it's used as kind of a symbol of their country. Maple trees grow in Canada as well. The white background is a historic color of the country of France, and the red is a historic color that symbolizes England. And both France and England historically had control over Canada, and the two national languages of Canada are both English and French. So let's talk about Canada today. So Canada's government. Canada has a government that is different from the United States of America a little bit. The capital city of Canada is the city of Ottawa. Ottawa is right on the border of the provinces of Ontario and Quebec. Canada's government is what's called a constitutional monarchy. That's a huge word or a huge term. Let's unpack it a little bit. So a constitutional monarchy is the same kind of government that Great Britain or England has. So part one, it has a king or a queen, but you have elected officials who run the government. So Canada was a part of the British Empire until 1931. So they were a part of England's empire for a long time. So they still keep the English monarch as their head of state. So Queen Elizabeth II is technically still recognized as the Queen of Canada, even though she is the English queen. But she doesn't make the laws. So Queen Elizabeth II does not make the laws of Canada. The Canadian people do. So they have what's called a parliament. So we have elected officials in parliament who make laws for Canada, kind of like our Congress. At the moment, the guy named Justin Trudeau, who's pictured right here, he is what's called the Prime Minister, and he is the leader of the elected government. So his party is called the Liberal Party. They have the most seats in parliament, and so he is the leader of his party, and he gets to be the Prime Minister of Canada until the next election if he wins or loses. Canada is split up into what we call provinces and territories. There are 10 provinces of Canada and 3 territories. They're similar to like U.S. states, but just different name. So let's look at a map of provinces and territories. So here's Canada. It's a very large country. If you think about a country's size as far as like how much land they have, Canada is the second largest country in the world as far as how much land it owns. However, it's very cold in most of Canada, so the population is small, but the land is big. A province is a political division with their own government, similar to a U.S. state. And the 10 provinces of Canada are Quebec in the east, Newfoundland and Labrador, Prince Edward Island, which is this little island right here, Nova Scotia, this bigger island. You have Ontario, New Brunswick, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia. Now there are also territories. So Canada has 3 territories in the far north, and these are very sparsely populated, like very few people live here. So they have a very limited government because almost no one lives there. Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut are the 3 territories of Canada. Economy and industries. Okay, so we talked about economy yesterday. Canada has a similar style of economy as the United States. Canada also has a market economy where people are free to have whatever job they like and people are free to buy and sell what they please. Canada's economy is right here. It's worth $1.74 trillion. That is way smaller than the U.S. is, but it is the 10th largest in the world. Canada's economy is smaller than the United States is, but Canadians have a similar standard of living as most Americans because Canada's population is much smaller. So even though your economy is smaller, if your population is smaller, you can still have the same amount of money per person. A standard of living would be the ability to buy the things a person wants or needs. So if you compare the lifestyle of your average Canadian to the lifestyle of your average American, they're going to be about the same, right? Canadians have similar resources per person as Americans do. Our economy is way bigger, but our population is also way bigger. That's how that's possible. In Canada, the biggest industries are like energy production, so like oil and gas, agriculture, like farming, and also banking. Remember, an industry is like a type of job you can have. People of Canada. Canada's population is about 1/10 of the size of the United States. There are 37.59 million people that live in Canada. It has two official languages, French and English. French is symbolized on the flag as the white background, English as the red. French is mostly spoken in just the province of Quebec. And that goes back historically to the settlers, the French settlers that came to Quebec. Quebec was called New France for a while before the English defeated the French in a war and took it from them. Christianity is the major religion of Canada, and Canada's main holidays are New Year's Day, Good Friday, which is a holiday, a Christian holiday, Canada Day, Labor Day, Remembrance Day, which we also call Veterans Day in the United States, and Christmas. Where do people live in Canada? Well, the largest cities in Canada are Toronto, Ontario. So Toronto is right on the shore of Lake Ontario. You got Montreal in Quebec. Vancouver is right here by Seattle. Calgary, Alberta, and Edmonton, Alberta. Population density. So most of Canada's population lives in the south, right? So most of Canada's population lives, in this southern territory because it's super cold and tundra type climate in the north. The major cities of Toronto, Montreal are near Lake Ontario and the St. Lawrence Rivers. It's a really important part of Canada as well. Okay, those are your notes on Canada for today. Have a great Tuesday.